back to another video. Today, we will be talking about how close the 2024 presidential election is, at least by every normal standard of data that we have. And now, Donald Trump is really making up a lot of ground, at least reflected in these polls the last few days. Now, Kamala Harris stands at a 2 point lead nationwide in the 538 average of polls. Now, there have been a lot of complaints about these polls. A lot of Republican sponsored polls flood these averages, and that is very true. There are just matter of fact is that there are so much more Republican internal polls flooding these averages than there are Democratic polls. So always keep that in mind. But still, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump is still gaining. He is gaining ground. Despite the margin, he is gaining ground from where he was a few weeks ago. But I mean, here's an example of a regular internal poll from the GOP that shows Trump with a 1 point lead in the popular vote. I don't see that possibly happening. But today, Kamala Harris stands at a 2 point lead in the popular vote. That is the closest it has been in quite a while since the very beginning of the race. It's the closest since August 7th, which was 2 months ago, more than 2 months ago. So it is really stunning to see Donald Trump making up ground this late into the race. And more importantly, it's not just the national polls. This is actually seen at a greater level in the battleground states. At least in most of them, you can see in these last few days, Donald Trump has really expanded his lead in Arizona. He is gaining ground there. It's now a 2.1% lead for him there. In the state of Georgia, of course, another battleground state, he has made up ground not too long ago, just about 6 days ago or 5 days ago. He was at a 1 point lead. Today, he stands at a 2 point lead. He has made up that much ground in just these couple of days. And then you can see in Michigan. Michigan is a great example here, if I remember correctly. Yes, it's gotten extremely narrow. And this was looking like one of Harris's best battleground states. She once had a 3.5% lead in Michigan on average. That was the peak of her campaign. Today, she stands at a 0.5% lead. So razor thin. And then you've got North Carolina. Of course, I don't think there's been too much change here. Yeah, Donald Trump really has retained this extremely narrow lead of just about right under 1 percentage point for quite a while now. Then we've got Pennsylvania, where Kamala Harris has retained a lead of 0.1%, but that is on the verge of flipping any day now. You can see just how close this has been throughout the race. So this one isn't as devastating for Harris, I'd say, looking at how it's not as much of a collapse as the other states, but still extremely concerning. Donald Trump could take the lead for the first time ever there in Pennsylvania. And then you've got the state of Wisconsin, where it is literally dead even. Absolutely insane to see. This was once Harris's best battleground state. Today, it is not. She once had a 3.5% lead. I'm sorry, almost a 4% lead, actually, at her peak in Wisconsin. And today, it is literally dead even. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow who does take the lead. So this is obviously not just a outlier case in one or two polls. No, this is a real clear trend that we are seeing across the nation, especially in these battleground states. Why? I literally have no idea. I don't know why. I mean, some of these states, it's really significant. How much ground Donald Trump has made up in just these past couple days, like Georgia. He doubled his lead in literally 5 days. I don't really know why, to be completely honest. I don't know, and we'll see. We never really see that much change in this election after the debate, after these various interviews Harris has done, after the DNC, the RNC. We never saw a boost for candidates. But Donald Trump is, by today's standards, in 2024, considering how little movement we have seen in this race, he actually is getting a lead. Now, again, as you all know, I'm one of the most skeptical channels on here about polls, and I never trust polls at all. I think Harris will win the election. I mean, when you base your map off polls, I don't think anyone would win because you've got Wisconsin dead even. Yeah, nobody would win. But besides that fact, the polls are saying there's no winner as of now. We'll see how Wisconsin goes. But I think that Harris will win. I think that she takes Nevada, as well as the blue wall, and the hot take, of course, Arizona. I think Arizona goes to her by an extremely small margin. I won't go into it. Of course, this is not a prediction video. I have many of those. You could see my recent one. This is my current forecast if it loads here. Um, I think, again, so many of these states are extremely narrow, but still, the map has changed. Yes, Harris is winning, but the map has changed, from just a week ago, right? I believe a week ago I had North Carolina as blue. North Carolina was blue for quite a while. Now it has flipped towards Donald Trump. I think that he does take North Carolina and Georgia by a tilt margin. Michigan at one time, I mean, it hasn't been for a while, but at one time, Michigan was a likely state for Harris. Now that's not even in the realm of possibility. But what has helped Harris in my forecast, we'll see how accurate my forecast is come election day. But about a week ago, Arizona turned blue, and this is based off a lot of things, especially looking into that abortion referendum and really, the past results of Arizona, this historical trends in Arizona, how abortion referendums could really help Democrats on state ballots. We saw that in 2022, and of course, I looked back at 2022, and the Democrats really had a stunning performance in Arizona. It was one of the most stunning states in terms of the midterm results in 2022. Of course, it was supposed to be a big red wave, and that didn't amount. That didn't happen, right? Of course, it was not a red wave. But and that happened in a lot of states. In some states, mediocre results for whatever for the Democrats, some mediocre results for the Republicans in a lot of states. But one of the states that was best for the Democrats, where they really outperformed expectations, was Arizona. In the final polls before Election Day, the Republican here in the Senate race was actually beating Mark Kelly in the polling. Mark Kelly ended up winning by 5%, a very comfortable victory. And in the gubernatorial race, Kari Lake led literally every single poll up to Election Day, and somehow the Democrat pulled out with a win. This was, of course, great campaign from the Democrats in terms of abortion, but it really confirmed that that Democrats. I guess we can't see the results here. Well, we can. It really showed that Democrats have solidified the suburban vote in Pennsylvania, and that clearly wasn't reflected in the polling in 2022. Sorry, wrong map again. That really wasn't reflected in the polling at all in 2022. As you can see, Maricopa County voted for Mark Kelly. Obviously, it's not a 60 to 70, but he won Maricopa County by a pretty significant margin. I don't know the exact margin. So they really solidified that suburban vote in Arizona, right? That pro-choice vote. And it won them Pennsylvania. I don't see why Harris won't be able to do that again, considering that Donald Trump is just as weak of a candidate as someone like Kari Lake. So I think the margin will be razor thin in Arizona. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am fairly confident right now that Harris does take Arizona. So the race is tightened, but Kamala Harris remains the clear leader in my mind in this presidential race with 287 electoral votes, Trump's 251. But so many of these states can go either way, considering that I have 4 states that will be decided by less than 1% margin. So these ones could really go either way. Would not be surprised at all if Wisconsin and Arizona go red, North Carolina and Georgia go blue. We will see. We are now only 16 days, 8 hours, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and 57 seconds now away from Election Day. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below, drop a comment as well to let me hear your thoughts on this, and I will see you all later.